Okay, so obviously we haven't done one of these in a while. It was a combination of computer problems, a Saudi show, and just kind of lack of overall funds, unfortunately. So yeah, just a lot of kind of bad things kind of coincided all together. So yeah, sorry. I thought about doing a Saturday Night's Main Event or something like that. Thought about doing AEW All In. Just Saturday Night's Main Event I just thought was really boring, and they couldn't afford to get All In. I am going to try to do Forbidden Door. Hopefully that'll work out. But yeah, again, sorry for not being around for for Money in the Bank and Evolution. I did think about Evolution as well. That just kind of, again, very underhyped. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a really good show. Maybe if they had drummed up a little more interest, or not waited until a month before the show to announce it, it could have gotten a lot better reception than it did, or been better expected. Again, I just don't think it really panned out very well there. Anyway, this is night 1 of SummerSlam. We'll be doing night 2, and there'll be a video. This is all going to be one video, but yeah, we'll cover night 2 when night 2 happens. But night 1 of SummerSlam finished, let's say, about a half an hour or so ago. Don't be surprised if ESPN sends a bulletin about it in the middle of the summary. Anyway, the first match was Jey Uso and Roman Reigns against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Reed brought out Roman Reigns' old shoes that he stole off of Raw this week. All four began brawling right after the ring bell. Jey hit a big crossbody outside of the ring on the other three men. Braun Breaker hit a Steiner line and then a flying shoulder to the outside of the ring. Breaker and Reed hit a double splash onto Jey Uso. Jey attempted to leap to Reigns, but Breaker countered that into a big rib breaker. Jey, at one point, Jey was draped over the Spanish announce table, and it looked like Braun Breaker was trying to hit a flying knee into some type of maneuver into the Spanish announce table, and Jey dodged it. And unfortunately, it looks like at some point around here, Braun Breaker tweaked his knee. He was not moving with the same pep in his step afterwards. He was limping noticeably. He was limping noticeably after the match, and we'll get to a point later. But yeah, at some point he, hurt his knee really bad. Jey countered a Samoan drop into a DDT on Reed. Got the tag into Reigns. Reigns hit a big flying leap onto Reed and Breaker. In fact, when he did that, he jumped way too far. He went up and he almost cleared them as he was coming down out of the ring. He had to basically turn into a roll so it looked like he actually got a piece of them. Reed blind tagged Breaker before a Superman punch and hit Reigns with an avalanche. Jey blind tagged to break up Bronson's attempt at a finisher maneuver. But then Bronson and Breaker, I keep screwing these two up, sorry. Reed and Breaker managed to catch Jey and hit him with the Steiner top rope bulldog. Reigns then speared Breaker through the barricade. He broke up a tsunami with a Superman punch. He and Jey then hit the 1D on Bronson Reed. Breaker broke the pin up, but then Reigns manages to take a spear for Jey from Braun Breaker. And there was Breaker attempted to spear Jey. Reigns shoved Jey out of the way to take the spear. That enabled Jey to hit a super kick and a splash on Bronson Reed for the 3 count and the victory. So yeah, the good guys won. Like I said, though, Braun Breaker appeared to tweak his knee. Still, though, good match to start things off. Good fun moments. Maybe dragged a little too long, but again, if maybe they were tending to Breaker's knee, and that's what caused some of the slowdown. But other than that, like I said, overall, really good match. I thought we had a really strong start to the show here. After that, we had the Women's Tag Team Championship match, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Right off the bat, Bliss and Flair argued over who got to start the match. That enabled Roxanne to get a jump on Alexa Bliss. Bliss came back at a head scissors on Perez and then tagged in Charlotte. Bliss then tagged in and got a Thez press on Perez. Landed several punches afterwards. Perez then raked Bliss's eye to get out of the Sister Abigail attempt. Perez then blocked a Twisted Bliss attempt. Rodriguez came in and hit a big boot into a side Russian leg sweep. Bliss eventually got the tag to Flair, who had a big cross body. Flair hit Rodriguez with kind of a buckshot lariat-like maneuver. She did not do the slingshot over the ropes, but she did a flip into the lariat. Flair went for the figure 8, but Perez broke that up with a lion salt. She managed to pull Rodriguez out of the way when Flair went for a big boot of her own, again echoing the previous match. However, at another point, Bliss dodged. Alexa Bliss tried to punch Roxanne Perez. Perez dodged that, and she struck Flair. The two argued very briefly. It looked like, Perez, I think, was going to get a roll-up, but then Bliss came back and hit a natural selection onto Roxanne Perez, and then hit the Sister Abigail as Charlotte hit a big boot on Raquel Rodriguez to get a 3 count. So, yes, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair are the new Women's Tag Team Champions. They had a very awkward hug in the ring, and I fully expect a very successful reign for probably 3 weeks until they drop it back to Perez and Rodriguez, because that's just kind of who they default to as the Judgment Day nowadays, with pretty much any of the tag titles. But yeah, not a terrible match. Again, I think this one got a little too clunky for its own good. Again, a lot of two echoes to the match that just happened previously. Again, with people pushing people out of the way to take blows. Again, trying to fix the, we had a little brief disagreement, and again, we have the two teams who kind of don't want to be together in some aspects. Perez has to replace Liv Morgan, so that was the only way they were going to get that fixed. And there's just it was just kind of an awkwardness throughout the whole thing. Like I said, given the way the World Women's Tag Team Championships have gone, again, as soon as they win it, it seems to go right back to the previous champion pretty soon. So, again, that's kind of why I'm just not as pumped up for this. After that, we had Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. I'm surprised Karrion Kross still does the whole fall and pray entrance, since he really doesn't, that's not really part of his gimmick anymore, that sort of post-apocalyptic warrior type thing he does. Anyway, Zayn clotheslined Kross out of the ring, hit a moonsault off the barricade. Kross came back, hit a big exploder suplex. Kross countered a Blue Thunder Bomb into a Saito suplex. And then we had a few more blows. At one point there was a double down. Scarlett slipped a pipe to Karrion Kross. But Zayn managed to counter that into a Blue Thunder Bomb. Something happened, like Kross got another cheap shot. Zayn sort of snapped, started pounding on them, got him to the ropes. The ref tried to break it up. Sami kind of got into an argument with the ref, and this enabled Scarlett to grab the pipe again and hand it to Zayn to try to encourage him to use it, because this whole thing has been Karrion Kross trying to get Sami Zayn to go over to the dark side. Zayn thinks about it, throws it out of the ring instead, comes back, hits an exploder suplex, hits the haluva kick for the 3 count of the victory. Yeah, fun little match. Again, probably a feud ender here. I don't know what they're going to do with Sami Zayn right now. Again, given the way things can go sometimes, him maybe competing for the World Heavyweight Championship could be there, but right now I just don't know, because it's really crowded at the top right now. And again, we'll probably have to see after night 2 wherever that leads, or what could be happening there. So, again, not entirely sure. Like I said, not a terrible match, but not exactly one to write home about either. Our next match is the Women's Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. The crowd, I think, was definitively behind Stratton. Like, Cargill got a decent response, but then once he heard, "It's Tippy time," the crowd just went completely nuts. Right off the bat, Stratton went for a quick roll-up. Cargill came back. She threw Stratton out of the ring. It looked like Stratton may have tweaked her wrist or something. She was holding it kind of weird. Stratton came back in a torpe and followed it up with a swanton. Cargill came back and hit her version of the torture rack slam, which is called the Eye of the Storm. Stratton countered a suplex into a falcon arrow. She went for the PME, but Cargill blocked it and hit Jaded. But in the process of rolling Stratton over for the 3 count, Stratton's foot got tangled up in the ropes, so there was a rope break. Jade got frustrated. She landed a couple big moves and then took Tiffany up to the, I think it was the 2nd rope, to try to do a super Jaded. But Tiffany countered that into a forward roll, kind of, not quite a head scissors, but sort of a body scissors roll out, and hit the PME for the 3 count of victory. So probably a surprise victory here, I think. I'm pretty sure a lot of people had Jade Cargill pegged to win this, but yeah, it just did not seem to happen. No indications of a heel turn from either woman. I mean, Tiffany has always kind of walked the line between heel and babyface, but other than that, yeah, like I said, the match itself, not terrible, but unfortunately very clunky. You know, both these women are still very much in the learning stages, and it showed a little bit. I mean, even if you recall Jade Cargill in AEW, she was very powerhousey, you know, so to, you know, do, like she, you know, when the whole roll out of the Jaden attempt, for example, it kind of looked very slow. And so it didn't quite seem to have the impact I think it should have probably had, if that made any sense. I mean, there are some aspects that worked. I do think, like, when Tiffany hit the big swanton and then, you know, Jay got her knees up for the PME, like, that worked. But, yeah, again, other than that, it just kind of fell a little flat, unfortunately. And that leads us into our next match, the tag match between Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. As Paul is making his entrance, the entire crowd is holding up signs saying that Paul's an outsider, because he's mocking Jelly Roll for being an outsider and not taking professional wrestling seriously. Logan Paul. Anyway, right off the bat, Paul hit a loaded punch on Jelly Roll before the bell rang, and that got Jelly Roll to basically say, "I want to start the match." Orton eventually gave in. Jelly Roll did manage to hit a body slam and an elbow drop on Paul. McIntyre tagged in. He got a cheap shot on Jelly Roll again, which basically prevented him from tagging Orton. So Jelly Roll I have to constantly say Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll confronted McIntyre and got hit with a Glasgow kiss for his efforts. This resulted in McIntyre and Paul hitting a double suplex on Jelly Roll. Orton eventually does get tagged in. He hits the power slam on McIntyre. Paul breaks up an RKO attempt. He got thrown into the ring barricade. They fought on the outside of the ring. Orton hit a back suplex on Paul, but then, let's see, he got McIntyre on the back of the Spanish announce table. It is the back suplex on the Spanish announce table. And McIntyre came in and hit a Claymore kick. This enabled Paul to hit Jelly Roll with another loaded punch. They put Jelly Roll on the English announce table and basically set up the frog splash from the to the outside by Logan Paul, which he hit on Jelly Roll. The crew came down to look at Jelly Roll, kind of started taking him away. He fought back. He got back into the ring. He tagged Orton. He hit a chokeslam on Paul. But then McIntyre hit a Claymore kick on Jelly Roll. And even though Orton came in and hit the RKO on McIntyre, Paul was still able to hit his frog splash, the Paul from Grace, and cover for the 3 count. So, yeah, a bit of a surprise here, I guess, that Logan Paul won. You would think how much they were building into Jelly Roll there, that it would be Jelly Roll, but still, nope, Logan Paul wins. the match itself, I think there was a little too much jelly roll in it. Like, he did a decent job when he early on, but you know, he clearly did not. Like they even said, like he doesn't have the cardio to be in the ring for a long time, and it was kind of obvious of that, and so that resulted in the match being very plodding at points. You know, I do wish that Orton maybe had worked a little bit more of this, just to maybe pick up the pace a little bit, which is a funny thing to say about a Randy Orton match, but yeah, still, again, like it, I think fell just a little too short for its own good. And that leads us into our main event for the night, the World Championship match between Walter and CM Punk. Right off the bat, Punk made sure that Walter wouldn't chop him. He dodged several attempts, but eventually he blocked a chop. But eventually, Walter took a kick from Punk, but managed to rebound and hit a big chop after that. He landed several more afterwards. He put Punk in the Tree of Woe. Punk eventually countered a sleeper into a roll-up, however, Walter managed to counter that into a big boot. Punk countered a Thez press into an atomic drop. However, in attempting to go for the GTS, Walter countered that into a sharpshooter. Walter came back at a big German suplex. Punk came back, hit a clothesline and a neck breaker. Punk put Walter in the triangle choke. Oh, my phone went off, sorry. Walter countered a GTS into a power bomb, a drop kick, and another power bomb. Walter, fought back under the turnbuckle. They tried to use the turnbuckle for a backbreaker. They got to the outside. Walter started to play to the crowd a little bit. He got up on the Spanish announce table, which enabled Punk to trip him. Walter fell a touch away that was supposed to bust him open. The idea was he was supposed to break his nose, but the problem is the way he landed was nowhere near his nose. Yeah, you could. So it's like, yeah, makes it even more obvious that he was that he bladed. Walter was blinded by this though because of all the blood. He couldn't see right. He managed to kick out of a GTS. Punk hit a flying elbow. Punk then hit another Walter did manage to lock at a sleeper, but Punk fell out of that, hit two more GTSs, and that finally dropped Walter for the 3 count of the victory. The celebration was short-lived, however, as Seth Rollins' music hit, and Rollins came out on crutches. He seemingly taunted CM Punk. He turned around to leave, but then suddenly he stopped. He dropped the crutches. He removed his brace. He ran down to the ring. He attacked Punk. Punk tried to go for a quick GTS, but Rollins had the briefcase with him and hit Punk with it. He hit Punk several times. He said, "I'm cashing in." Rollins hits a stomp, gets the 3 count, and Seth Rollins is now the World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah. Overall, I thought the Walter Punk portion was fairly good, reasonably entertaining. The longer it went, the more you felt like, okay, so obviously Punk is going to gas himself and Rollins is going to cash in. There had been some scuttlebutt that maybe Rollins would actually be cashing in tomorrow night. It's sort of known that Rollins' injury was not as serious as they initially made it out to be. He was injured to an extent, like they were going to do the injury angle to begin with, but the idea was, hey, this way we can keep you off your feet, you're not wrestling on the road, so, your stuff doesn't get worse, and, you're a little more rested. And I would point out that afterwards, too, Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker came down, and Breaker's knee was very heavily taped up, to the point that, he sat down to try to, taunt Punk, but you could tell, like, he couldn't get back up. He was going to need help doing that, so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, so we're going to get more Rollins CM Punk, I guess. Don't know how this is going to play out exactly. Like I said, I think the other option would have been a little more entertaining. And just kind of a, meh overall feeling. Like I said, overall I thought the match was good. I would say this, when Rollins' music hit, the crowd definitely popped way more than they even did for CM Punk. So I think you know, they might need to rethink some things. You know, I don't know if they can have Punk turn heel. I know there's some talk that they might do Punk and Cody at Mania, so if then you can maybe turn Punk heel, but yeah, don't know how everything's going to entirely play out, but it's not the most intriguing, I think. I think it's just kind of fallen a little flat. Again, maybe it's just kind of because this new Dangerous Alliance, whatever they're calling it, I don't think has quite panned out and made the impact that it really should have. I mean, they even kind of openly said Bronson Reed is in the group to take pinfalls when needed, which, again, seems like a bit of a knock against Bronson Reed. He's a better worker than that. But still, it's like, yeah, I guess something about this just isn't gelling with me. But who knows? I guess we'll see what happens after tomorrow night. So we'll take this little break, and we'll see you for the Night 2 recap.
I'm known for my gentle and charming disposition. So when Ernie here ran out of Miller Lite, I didn't get mad. Nah. We calmly discussed the situation. I told Ernie I drink light because it's brewed from the ground up so it tastes great. Not like some watered-down version of a regular beer. We reached an understanding, and he quickly rectified the situation. Mom always said I had a way with people.
When it's Miller Lite, less Philly, tastes great.
Jack Butler has just lost one job, but is about to take on another.
All right, just relax. It's going to be great. There's nothing serious, you know.
Hon, we got it covered, right, guys?
Whoever thought that staying home with the kids could be hazardous to your health?
Now, do you want to go over that list one more time?
When the chips are down, it takes a real man to rise to the occasion. Michael Keaton and Terry Garr hit home with a gender-bender comedy of the 80s, Mr. Mom.
Hold on a minute. Check this out. I got a little pop quiz for you. True or false, school and drugs don't mix? School and drugs, yeah, you know what it is. See, the way I see it, you're in a race right now. And why would you want to start the race by sliding a yoke around your neck? You're going to lose. You can't win. The more you think about it, the more you know. If you're buying into drugs, you're paying with your future. Think about that.
The area's news and information leader, KFYR-TV.
The momentum is shifting in this one.
Duke, get down. It's my chair. Let's go. I'm not playing games.
Okay, here we go again.
Oh, Duke.
He's got him right where he wants it. Just a bit outside.
Hey, those dog obedience classes really paid off.
Figure this one out. A girl spends an hour getting ready for a party, you know, with the right jeans and the right hair. So she gets to the party looking really hot. But then she decides to get drunk. And pretty soon she's talking stupid and looking kind of ugly and bloated. Not exactly a guy's dream come true. So listen, if you're going to do the party thing, stay sober. Because we like the way it looks on you.
This week on Bonanza.
Hey, how's the matter? Might have busted a leg, Paul. Oh, just get Doc in. What are you? Just rest easy now. Doc will be here in a minute. You're pretty lucky you could have been killed.
I was supposed to ride out today and pick up my bride.
Bonanza, Sunday night at 10:35 on KFYR-TV.
Hey guys, I made a note of this on the channel earlier, but unfortunately my original video file for this got corrupted. So I'm having to reshoot this, and it's going to seem like I'm rushing through things. I don't mean to like be disrespectful to everyone who put on these shows, but yeah, it's going to kind of happen, unfortunately. I don't want to be here for however longer it's going to take to get through this. I want to try to get done as quickly as I possibly can so I can get this uploaded and then get ready for work. Or go to work and then come back and upload it later. Okay, so yeah, I had a little jokey bit at the beginning. Yes, I am aware I put 2 competing beer company commercials in that block, but yeah, that happens. And yes, that's from KFYR is the NBC affiliate here in Bismarck, but no, those aren't necessarily mine. They're from YouTube. In fact, I believe, concerning the air date that those were from, it's possible I was in Illinois at the time, so make of that what you will. Anyway, night 2 of SummerSlam was definitely an improvement from night 1. Like I said, overall was, like I said, it was definitely an improvement. That being said, I still think there were some glaring flaws. We started off with the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship between Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. Naomi got played down to the ring by her father, who was a renowned guitarist. He's worked with like Cool in the Gang. I believe he's also a prominent session musician. So it was actually a very nice intro. I kind of liked it. I thought definitely it was probably the best custom intro of the night. Right off the bat, Naomi rolled out of the ring to try to make Io and Rhea fight each other. It didn't work. They cornered her. And the only reason the alliance broke apart as quickly as it did was that Naomi ducked a boot attempt from Rhea Ripley and it hit Io Sky instead. Ripley tried to suplex Naomi out of the ring. Naomi bit Rhea's finger to get out of it. Naomi hit a heat seeker on Rhea Ripley through the ring ropes and on the ring apron. Sky hit a big nice drop kick, Tiger Fan kick. At one point, they each tried to go for their finishers. Io went for the moonsault. Rhea got up and tried to do the blocked it, tried to do the riptide. Naomi countered that and tried to do the split-legged moonsault. Io eventually broke a pinfall with the moonsault, much like WrestleMania finish. However, Naomi was smart and rolled off of Rhea out of the way so that way she could break the pin after the moonsault. Naomi then hit a jumping knee and walked right into a riptide. Ripley then knocked Naomi off the ring apron and hit with a big boot and then hit a swanton off the apron. At that point, Io Sky hit a sunset bomb early on the outside. She tried to go for possibly a head scissors type maneuver, but Rhea countered that into the avalanche riptide. However, as soon as she hit that, Naomi rolled Rhea up for the 3 count of the victory. Like I said, I don't want to originally recorded this. This was a very good match, a great way to start the show. I think it does a good job of making Naomi look like a decent champion. I don't know how long she's going to be champion because she's facing Stephanie Becerra in Paris at the end of the month. And the problem I've had with the Women's Money in the Bank winners is that their championship reigns tend not to be very long. But at least in this case, hey, she still looks good. She still looks like a legit threat. It doesn't look like some fluke winner. She's not Nikki Cross or Liv Morgan or, where it's like, yeah, they win, and then, almost immediately soon it's like, okay, when are they going to drop it? At least now it feels like, maybe she can even pull some chicanery with Becerra and she can be a champion just a little bit longer because she's certainly earned it. Okay, after that we had the TLC match for the World Tag Team Championships, or just the Tag Team Championships. The confusing situation with this, we have the World Tag Team Championships, which are on Raw, and the World Heavyweight Championship is on Raw, but then the Women's World Championship is on SmackDown. So you can see where you get confused sometimes. These are for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which were the Wyatt Six versus the Street Profits versus DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns versus Fraxium versus Andrade and Rey Fenix. Right off the bat, everyone ganged up on the Wyatts. Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns hit some torpes. The big spot that happened after a lot of things, there was a lot of stuff through tables, obviously. At one point, DIY tried to throw Montez Ford through a table, and he just hit his big diving swanton over the ring post to the outside on a bunch of other people. Axiom hit Angelo Dawkins with a Spanish fly through the table off the top rope. Gargano hit a slingshot DDT through a table. And it's at this point that Candice LeRae entered the picture, and Gargano told her to go climb the ladder and pull down the belts. to give them to DIY, obviously. And he and Ciampa got up and got in the ring to try to keep the ladder steady and keep it in place for Candice to get them. However, Ford drop-kicked Gargano into the ladder, knocking Candice off of the ladder and into a bridge ladder that had been set up on the outside of the ring, between the ring and the announce table, and she landed through it right with her shin first, right down to the floor. It was a vicious bump. Axiom, and then after that, Eric Rowan got involved, Uncle Howdy got involved. They pulled guys off the ladder. A bunch of people ganged up on them. Andrade hit a sunset bomb off the ladder onto a ladder bridge onto Howdy. So, yeah, as that happened, that enabled Gacy and Loomis of the Wyatt Six to climb the ladders and retrieve the belts to retain the championship. Overall, I think it was a good match. The crowd didn't know what to make of it. I think they were very entertained, but I don't think they were particularly happy that the Wyatts won. It's hard to tell where exactly the Wyatts are lying. Are they heels or are they baby faces? Because they seem to attack mostly heels, but they act mostly heelish. Yeah, and I think it's put them in this weird nether realm where I don't know how the audience wants to react. Like, I don't think they want to do anything that seems like it might be offensive to the Rotunda family. At the same time, it's just kind of confusing, and I don't think the crowd is like 100% behind the Wyatts as they should be. Overall, it was a decent match. Again, the ending just got a little muddled. And that leads us into the no DQ match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. Like I said, this is no DQ, but pinfalls and submissions can only happen inside the ring. This is not false count anywhere. And right up, again, I'm not happy that Becky Lynch is Intercontinental Champion. Like, you know, to me, it's like that's a step up belt. That's the a belt for lack of a better term, the women's undercard. To have Becky Lynch coming, it's like, to me, it's like when Becky and Charlotte came down and won the NXT Championship again. It's like, you're not helping, you're just making everyone below you look useless. And, you know, I think they were building towards Lyra winning this, but, well, this is what happened. Lynch dodged a dropkick through the ropes, sent Valkyria into the announce table. She grabbed a kendo stick, however, Valkyria pulled out a crowbar and smashed the kendo stick before it could be used. They got into a fight on the outside, and Valkyria inadvertently whipped Lynch into a ringside photographer, and that was not part of the show because both women immediately checked up on the guy after what happened and told him to go to the doctor, the ringside doctor, to get checked out. Lynch used a chain for a chokehold. She hit White Russian leg sweep with the kendo stick. Lynch got a toolbox from out of the ring and pulled out a pair of zip ties, tied Valkyria's hands. However, Valkyria managed to fight off a manhandle slam and hit a belly-to-belly suplex. She hit a moonsault, all with her hands still tied. Eventually, she got under the ring and managed to find something to cut herself free. She used a fire extinguisher to blind Lynch. Lynch eventually fought back again. She managed to trap Valkyria in a chair and then kind of pinned said chair up against the announce table. She grabbed the crowbar, but that's when Bayley intervened. Lynch tried to get Bayley to attack Valkyria. She wouldn't do it. They fought a little bit. Bayley grabbed a chain and started attacking Lynch with it. That enabled Valkyria to recover and hit a guillotine leg drop through a table that had been set up on the outside of the ring. They fought a little bit more. Valkyria went for Nightwing. Becky fought out of it and shoved Valkyria towards Bayley, who didn't realize it was Valkyria that was heading her way, and inadvertently struck her with the chain, which enabled Lynch to hit the manhandle slam and retain the championship. And like I said, this was a very good match, but again, I don't like Becky Lynch being champion. I think this was a title change that should have happened. Like, have Lynch drop it, and then she can go after, Vaquer when she wins, or someone else. Because I don't want her going at. I don't like the fact that Bayley was going after this champ. I don't like that Becky Lynch has gone after this championship. This should be used for the likes of, again, Stephanie Vaquer. I know she's going after the bigger championship right now, but it's like, again, you have Lyra Valkyria, and the problem is they also released a bunch of women, so it can be kind of hard to try to figure out who else I'm going to say. But maybe you could have Roxanne Perez go after this. You could have Raquel Rodriguez go after this. Kairi Sane, Asuka, well, maybe not Asuka, but yeah, again, like, you know, those people should also be going after this too, and it's like, you know, I just don't buy it with Becky Lynch, and now because of the stipulation, the other stipulation going into this was Valkyria's last chance with that championship, and now she's not even going to get a chance for that, and now she can only go for the United States or one of the bigger belts, and it's like, yeah, great. So yeah, and are we stuck with 9 more months of Becky Lynch? Yeah, exactly. It's like this is worn. I want something different. And after that, we have the steel cage match for the United States Championship: Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. Fatu hit a nice corkscrew elbow off the bat, but eventually Solo back body dropped Fatu into the cage, hit several splashes. Fatu eventually shrugged off a cage shot, came back, hit a moonsault, but only got a 2 count on it. It's at this point the rest of Solo's new family arrived, the Tongans and JC Mateo. They managed to set up distractions, so Solo hit the Samoan Spike, only got a 2 count. Fatu fought back more. Talatanga got involved. He tried to handcuff Fatu to the cage, which to enable Solo to go out through the door. However, Fatu broke free, grabbed Solo, seemed to be pulling him away. However, they were close enough to the cage for Talatanga to slam the door shut, disorient Fatu long enough for Solo to slip out, win the match, and retain the championship. And afterwards, Jimmy Uso got involved. They got the Tongans inside, and Fatu hit a moonsault off the top of the cage. They're calling back to the Snuka Morocco match, the famed Snuka cage dive that inspired the likes of Mick Foley and Bubba Ray Dudley and Paul Heyman. But of course, the little known fact with that match is that Snuka actually lost the match. He inadvertently drop kicked Morocco out of the cage. So yeah, again, they're trying to harken back to that, but I don't think the crowd was really up for it. I think they wanted a title change, and I think that's probably what would have worked better here than trying to pay homage to something that happened, 43 years ago. And that leads us into our next match, which is the Intercontinental Championship match between Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles. AJ came out with his son Avery in a lowrider. Styles was wearing Eddie Guerrero tribute tights. Early on, Dominic tripped Styles in the ring apron and a nice baseball drop kick. Styles came back with a tornado DDT. He hit the Hishigoroshi. Dom countered a forearm into a Michinoku driver. Dom blocked a frog splash and hit a 619. Styles countered a frog splash into a calf crusher. Dominic got to the ropes. Dominic grabbed a chair and tried to do the Eddie Guerrero cheat, but then Styles made it look like Dominic had actually hit him, and that confused the ref just long enough so not to end the match. Styles locked on another calf crusher. However, in the meantime, Dominic had loosened his boots, so it came off. This is a recreation of the Eddie Guerrero-Kurt Angle match, WrestleMania 20. Again, a lot of tributes being paid right now. And except in this case, Styles went to clothesline Dominic, almost hit the ref, stopped, and then enabled Dominic to grab his boot and use it for a cheap shot, and then hit the frog splash for the 3 count of the victory to retain the championship. I'm kind of a mixed bag on this because, obviously, we still have yet to get Finn Balor turning on Dominic, which you'd think would have happened at this point. But right now, Dominic is also going after the AAA Mega Championship at their big show in a couple of weeks. So, again, I have to wonder what exactly the plans are here. Did Liv Morgan's injury maybe get thrown into this? Who knows? But yeah, it is definitely something that's starting to just raise a lot of questions. That being said, it was a decent enough match. I'm okay with Dominic retaining for now, but I think at some point we need to start actually doing something with him, because it seems like, I know he was actually injured a little bit, so he couldn't defend it right away, but at the same time, it's like he hasn't defended it that much. Judgment Day won the tag titles back. Exactly, they say Judgment Day is to be feared, but I don't buy them as dominant heels by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, that's kind of the big problem there. Okay, and that leads us into the main event for night 2, the Street Fight for the Undisputed Championship between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Now, it looks like John Cena had turned babyface again. He seemed to acknowledge that this heel turn wasn't working, that Cody had relit the fire under him, and that he was going to be the old John Cena again, which is what Cody wanted. Cody has also proven that he could go to dark places if need be, so who knows, maybe this could actually work out. Or is Cody turn? Or is John Cena lying? That seemed to be the prevailing belief, that either John Cena was lying or Cody was going to turn heel. What happens? Well, the two, the old John Cena entrance came out. They still did the black screen with the block lettering at first, but then they went into the old entrance with the colors and everything, and the My Time Is Now. He wore the belt properly. He showed like he wasn't angry looking anymore. He looked happy. And the two embraced as they entered the ring, began throwing hands. They got to the outside. Rhodes threw Cena into the ring steps. Cena threw Rhodes in the ring steps and then went into the crowd, where Tyrese Halliburton, the all-star point guard for the Indiana Pacers, who, if you're unaware, kind of like willed them to the NBA Finals until he ruptured his Achilles tendon in Game 7. So he's on crutches, and Cena took one of Tyrese Halliburton's crutches and attacked Rhodes with it. Rhodes came back, he did a snap power slam. They fought on the outside. They fought with chairs briefly. Cena threw Rhodes into a chair and then hit 4 of the 5 moves of doom. However, Rhodes hit a Cody cutter after that. Cena came back, hit an AA, only got a 2 count. Rhodes hit a moonsault and a disaster kick. Rhodes countered a second AA into a pile driver. Cena appeared to be knocked out, but then snookered Cody into an AA, but didn't quite get into a position for a pinfall. Cena then managed to counter a pop-up powerbomb into an STF. Cody didn't get to the ropes, but he managed to pull the rope enough to actually use it as kind of a choke on John Cena. The two then brawled into the crowd. They brawled all the way up to the top of the entrance, not at the top of the entrance ramp, but to the under area of the entrance ramp, and then they fought to the point where they got to the little platform that Cody uses for his entrance. They came up and Cody was in the fireman's position, so Cena hit an AA on the entrance ramp. He then carried Cody down the ring. However, it was long enough for Cody to fight out of that and hit, I believe he hit a crossroads, but then they fought back to the outside, he hit a crossroads but only got a 2 count. Cena hit his leg drop, then an attitude adjustment got another 2 count. Cena grabbed a tail, Rhodes countered that into a DDT. Rhodes then suplexed Cena into the security gate. Okay, that's where they followed on the ramp, sorry. And then Cena got into Cody into a STF again. However, Cody grabbed the rope and choked Cena with it. Eventually, the big ending came when Rhodes grabbed the belt. Rhodes hit his 3 crossroads and Cena kicked out. Frustrated, Cody had already pulled the bottom turnbuckle off and attacked Cena with it before the 3 crossroads. Again, proving that he can go to the dark side if need be. Cody grabbed the belt, tried to hit Cena with it, but Cena countered that. He had 2 AAs and then hit a 3rd AA that was an avalanche AA. Cody kicked out of that, so Cena grabbed a table, set it up, went for another avalanche attitude adjustment, but Cody countered that into a super Cody cutter and then hit the crossroads to get the 3 count and become the undisputed champion once again. Okay. And then after that, no interference, no Rock cameo, thankfully no Travis Scott. Cody didn't attack Cena, the two embraced. Cena said something to Cody. They raised each other's hands, they shook hands again. Cody politely got out of the ring and let Cena get a final standing ovation because this is his last SummerSlam. And it seems that Cena's babyface, he didn't go back heel, Cody didn't turn heel. Babyface Cena is here to stay once again. Which I kind of said was probably going to happen, that Cody would beat Cena, quote, the right way. He didn't really, he didn't go to the dark places, but it was in a street fight, so it's not like he was breaking the rules. And, he didn't go that dark. He hit him, and he was feeling sorry for what he was doing. He acknowledged, I'm doing the wrong thing, but it's okay here because, it's I'm not cutting corners, I'm just doing what I need to do. Yeah, but he also said, but I'm still going to feel bad about it. And so it does sort of affect things a little bit. And, again, so like I said, it was kind of what I said was going to happen. Like, Cena would redeem himself because, it would Cody would beat Cena, and that would kind of earn the final respect between the two. And to an extent, that's what happened, except in this case, like I said, Cody got out of the ring and let Cena have a final ovation, and that's when Brock Lesnar's music hit. Lesnar went down to the ring, hit Cena with the F5. Lesnar couldn't do his leap up thing because the bottom rope was gone, and the ring was not suitable for that. But he got in the ring, he hit Cena with the F5, and that's pretty much how the show ended, with Brock Lesnar standing triumphant over John Cena. So I'm guessing that's probably going to be Cena's last feud. I mean, I think, is it November or December is going to be his last match. So, I mean, I don't know if he can really face anyone after this. I guess maybe if you want to, you could have him challenge Seth Rollins, but I mean, why at that point? Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know if it, I don't know if that helps Rollins. I don't know if that really helps Cena at all. So yeah, I think him being, him going up against Lesnar, the last demon he needs to slay, I think works. I kind of like how this turned out, because again, everyone's saying it was either Cena was lying or Cody's going to turn heel. Cody is lying and he's going to turn heel. And you know what? I'm okay with this, and maybe we need to stop just expecting that The Rock is going to always be involved in these things. He is busy. He's obviously promoting another movie. The Smashing Machine is coming out. He's busy in Hollywood. Maybe he doesn't have a football league to worry too much about anymore. But other than that, like I said, he's busy in Hollywood. He's doing everything he's got all his other commitments. He doesn't necessarily have to be in WWE all the time. He's only there if he wants to be. And you know what? Like I said, I'm fine if The Rock doesn't quite get involved in everything. Again, I think him getting involved in the Cena heel turn was a mistake to begin with, because that got everyone's expectations up. And you could kind of look what happened, why the Cena heel turn ultimately didn't work. Because now Cena is forced to talk about all the stuff that was like 15 years old, and really, that wasn't why people didn't like John Cena anymore. This isn't the lol Cena wins John Cena. He had stopped being that in like 2015. They had grown to respect him, and so it's like, that's why it just didn't really work. He should have probably played a little more Hollywood. In fact, I think going into this, he did play more Hollywood when he talked about, I got this movie commitment, I can't be at SummerSlam. And, it took Cody having to basically force him to do it. That was, I think, more what John Cena should have been, and not the, you guys have wanted this for years, you never liked me, you always booed me. Like, you were still the top merchandise seller for so long. Yeah, like, for all, the IWIC people who beat you, who booed you, there were so many who cheered. So, yeah, again, it's always that weird part that just didn't quite work about the heel turn, and yet I think this actually does prove a better story. I think it just works overall. That being said, this was a two-night SummerSlam. We had 12 matches, and I'd say 6 of the matches were really good, and 6 were very blah. Unfortunately, night 1 was mostly not good. Night 2 was mostly good, and that's kind of averaging everything out. So I have to give SummerSlam 2025 a C. Again, even for as much as I enjoyed night 2, there were still glaring flaws. I think either the Women's Intercontinental Championship or the United States should have changed hands. I think that would have, having one title change hands on both nights just feels kind of hollow and didn't really make a lot of sense. I think that would disappoint a lot of people. I think you could have had one of those 2 belts change hands tonight. I think that would have maybe sent the audience a little bit happier. I've already made my statement about Becky Lynch. I won't stop. I'll stop there, but yeah. That's kind of why I'm just giving it a C. I did enjoy night 2, and I think night 2 was definitely one. I would say if you want to rewatch this, just rewatch night 2. You can skip night 1. You know, they'll have little condensed moments to talk about there, but other than that, like, yeah, no real reason to get hyped up over that. Okay, so the next video is going to be the random trade review on Copra Round 1. I'm aiming to get that one up probably Friday at the earliest, probably Saturday, most likely, depending on when I can get everything shot and recorded. I'm mostly done scripting, and it goes by quickly because there's not a lot of background information available. So yeah, it's a lot of freewheeling. It's not going to be a long episode by any stretch of the imagination. Not that that's necessarily bad. I'm just saying, you know, don't expect like that, like what I did with the Marvel Masterworks Spider-Man. Okay, it's not a half-an-hour episode. In fact, it'll be lucky to be a 15-minute episode. Anyway, and then after that will probably be the initial thoughts on Madden. I think I'm getting it this week. I say I think because they moved the date up. If you pre-ordered it, if you pre-ordered the deluxe edition, which I kind of did because I did the bundle with College Football 26, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to play it or if I'll be able to, like, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, the Madden initial thoughts will be the next video. Wrestling wise, I intend to do AEW Forbidden Door. I can't keep wanting to say all out, that's next month. And then we'll do Clash at Paris, the WWE show, which is a week after Forbidden Door. See you all then. Hey guys, remember, you can help me expand my professional wrestling coverage by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions. Also, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.
Yeah.